getting tired of hearing about prestigious grants that they pay scientists less, and often they keep them out of a social security system, meaning no parental leave, no unemployment benefits, and also no safety net. Institutions push for international mobility, yet when it comes to retirement, we are left stranded. While I can't rewrite funding policies, what I can do is share with you the financial tools that I've learned over these years. Things every scientist should know, but we rarely talk about it. And no, this is not a get-rich seminar. If that's what you want, I would recommend you to watch this dude, because he even has a Netflix series about it. But by the end of this video, you will have a clear understanding of the foundational financial concepts, what to look out for, and the practical tools that can help you navigate the system. Because hey, knowledge is power, and scientists should stop being financially powerless. Hi there, I'm a vet, a neuroscientist, and an author of several neuroscience studies. On this channel, I like to talk about the brain, life, and often the academic world. And if you vibe with this, I encourage you to hit the subscribe button. Just a quick disclaimer for today's video, I am not a financial advisor, by no means. So this is not professional financial advice. However, I'm just sharing with you the knowledge that I wish someone had shared with me a little bit sooner. Money is a taboo topic in academia, but also in many areas in life, and I don't think it should be. So if you want to share your insights or also experiences, please leave a comment down below and let's start a conversation, because at the end of the day, it's time for scientists to take care of their financial future. So first things first, let's start with the basics. So at its core, money is just a tool to exchange value. You pay for coffee and cake just like you pay for land and property. But because we value assets like houses more, they cost significantly more than cake. Simple, right? Back in the days, people bartered goods and services. However, no one would have bartered a cow for an egg, because the perceived value of a cow is much more than a single egg. And similarly now with money. So money is the perceived value of the society. So the price tag on anything is the perceived value of the thing. So where money flows, as a society we have agreed that this is important. So money is all around us, and it is putting a price tag on everything, including our time and services. Yet the financial world is wrapped in jargon that make it seem more complicated than it actually is. So let's start to break it down, and let's start with the famous word inflation. Gravity is a natural law. It exists whether we like it or not. Money, on the other hand, is a man-made construct, and it is subject to human-made rules. One of those rules is inflation. I am sure that you've heard of it in the past years, because it is the reason that made everything so expensive all of a sudden. So if we break it down, in essence, inflation is due to the fact that governments keep on printing new money, trillions of banknotes annually to be precise. The reason for this is to replace lost money, but also to boost the economy. But the more money is in circulation, the less each unit is worth. And that is why $1 today is worth way less than $1 10 years ago. Central banks, the entities who control inflation, try to keep inflation stable at 2% per year. But in recent years, inflation has surged more than that, hitting 8% in 2022, 6% in 2023, and 4% in 2024. So, because of inflation, salaries must increase yearly in order to maintain the same purchasing power. So, if inflation was 8% in 2022, however your salary did not increase by 8%, in reality you actually got a pay cut without even realizing it. And the same goes for the subsequent years. Many people don't notice this because their paychecks stay the same amount. But in real terms, you are working for less money each year. So what can you do about it? If you can, negotiate a raise. If that's not possible because your salary is determined by grants and university policies, although trust me, there is for sure someone in your institute who unlocked this feature. Anyway, if not, there is another way how you can make up for the lost purchasing power. Which brings me to compounding. Warren Buffett said it best. He who understands it earns it, he who doesn't pays it. So let's understand this weird sentence. So compounding is illustrated in this graph over here, which is a basic exponential graph. But I know this is still a little bit abstract to visualize. So let's get into quiz mode. So I will offer you two options and you have to choose one. First option, I will give you $1 million right here, right now. Second option, I give you 1 cent. However, this 1 cent will double for a whole month. So think hard. Which one will you choose? Option A or option B? Okay, so time is up. So congrats! If you chose the 1 cent, you would have 5 million by the end of the month. And how does this work? Well, compounding, of course, right? This is the exponential power of making money work for you. And here's the key: compounding is your best defense against inflation. By investing money in assets that grow, you can outpace inflation and grow your wealth. But before that, there's one critical step. And one way how you can do this is via interest. You have probably heard of the classic advice that you should save between 10 to 20% of your paycheck. Some even say 50% if you're frugal. But here's the truth: saving alone won't protect you from inflation. Saving money is not enough if you let it sit in a regular bank account. Most current accounts, even regular savings accounts, offer little to no interest. If inflation is 4%, however your interest rate is 0%, you're practically losing money every year. If you have saved $10, after 10 years you will still have these $10. And so, in order for us to unlock the power of compounding, we need to earn interest. Think of it this way: interest is the salary that your money makes when you send it to work for you. However, probably you're asking, geez, Eva, thanks for explaining, but where and how do I start all of this? And for that I have multiple solutions for you. However, all options can be categorized into two: lending money and investing. Let's start with money lending, as this will be the first step into becoming good with money. And no, I am not saying that you should become a loan shark, So before jumping into investing, you need a safety net. An emergency fund, if you will. However, this money doesn't need to be sitting around doing nothing. It can be lent to banks in order to get interest on it. So for this, there are actually two rules in my book. First, save 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. However, this time round, you will put it in a high-yield savings account. Right now, at the making of this video, the European Central Bank suggests an interest rate of 2.5%. So, anything at this rate is good. Do your due diligence and find a bank or a neo-broker that can offer you such an interest rate. The most important thing to watch out for is that this is a trusted financial entity, because these entities are forced to insure themselves to guarantee that up to 100,000 euros in Europe or $250,000 in the US are returned to you in case of insolvency of the institution. And then I have the second rule, and that is that this money is instantly accessible if you come to need it. This comes to be in case of a job loss, medical bills, or any other unexpected expense. And this means that you have to make sure that the account you choose is not a fixed term account, as this type of account locks your money for a set period of time. And remember, you cannot schedule your emergencies. So you want your money to sit pretty and grow over time. However, you want it to be readily available if you come to need it. And why do we need this? Actually, if we want to go to the next step in investing, it is very important to have such a safety net, because investments can fluctuate. If you put all of your saved money in investments and you suddenly need access to it in a market crash, you're practically losing money. And having an emergency fund prevents that. So, now that this is out of the way, let's get to investing. So, investing, if it is done correctly, it is the most powerful way how you can grow your wealth. When you buy stocks, you're buying a piece of the company. So, if the company does well and grows, so does your investment. So, for example, if back in 2014 you had invested $10,000 worth of Netflix stock, that investment would be worth over $160,000 today. But hey, not all companies 16x their worth over time. Some companies just fail and go bankrupt. And in this case, you get $0 for your investment. And because we do not have a crystal ball and we are no financial gurus, we can make use of ETFs. So ETFs are baskets of stock from multiple companies. So instead of betting and investing into a single company, you own a small piece of many. There are many ETFs to choose from, but one that is widely mentioned is called the S&P 500, which batches the stocks of the 500 largest companies in the US. Historically, this ETF has grown by an average of 10% annually. So as you can imagine, this long-term growth can help investors beat inflation and grow their wealth over time. However, the trick here is the word over time. You won't be making tons in the first years, and usually you need to leave these investments sit for at least 20 years to see the exponential growth of your money. So actually, if you're sold to the idea, investing doesn't have to be complicated nowadays. So here's how you can get started. First things first, pick a brokerage. Look for low fees and beginner-friendly platforms. Nowadays, we have neo-brokers which make this much easier. In my case, I use Trade Republic, however, there are so many, just choose one. Secondly, just start small. If you're new to investing, don't just throw all your savings. Just start small, like with $10 or so, or €10 if you're European, and just see what happens. Like with anything in life, you need to get the feel of how things work out, and so it is better not to play around with huge amounts. Third step, go for it for the long term. Day trading is risky. You can try it with small amounts just to get the feel of how investing goes and you just feel good about yourself. However, if you're not a Wall Street dude who knows the ins and outs of the system, I wouldn't risk it. It's basically like betting. And I also wouldn't go for single stocks. Identifying a unicorn company is hugely difficult. Even venture capitalists who invest millions and billions of dollars aren't able to do this the majority of the time. So really, why do you think that you can? So go long term on ETFs. They also historically outperform active trading, even from the professionals. And then there's the fourth step, which is automate. And this step is quite simple. Once you figured out which ETFs you want to invest in, you just set up an automatic monthly investment to stay consistent with your interest rate. And this will help with the dollar cost averaging. I won't go into this today because, it's not that important. But you can Google it, or I can let you know in the comments. So, aside from investing in stocks, many countries offer pension schemes where employers match your contributions. If your employer offers a 50% match, that is an instant 50% return on your money. This is better than any other stock market investment. And some pension plans are even tax deductible, meaning you pay less income tax while saving for retirement. But actually, what is the trade-off? Because there is always a downside to anything, right? And that is, usually pension funds lock this money until retirement age. Whatever that means for us millennials and Gen Zers. On the other hand, stocks are more flexible. You can sell them anytime, although long-term holding is the best. And this is because the market fluctuates, and in the short term there is no guarantee that your capital is preserved. Usually gains and the effects of compounding are seen over a long period of time. So far I spoke a lot about the bright side of money. However, unfortunately, if you do not pay attention, compounding can also work against you. And this happens when you are the one paying the interest. And this can happen in three ways. The worst one is credit card debt. Interest rates are brutally high. For example, my credit card has a 24% interest rate. That is astronomical if you don't pay on time. Remember when I told you that a good interest rate for your money is 2.5%? And also that on average the stock market increases by 10% annually? Well, now compare that to 24%. So as you can imagine, credit cards are a black hole if you're using them to pay for stuff you can't afford. So under no circumstance carry balance on a credit card. So the second death trap of compounding are bank fees. So again, avoid fees like the plague. I find that it's a literal joke that the bank makes you pay them to get access to your money. It's like Facebook asks you to pay them to get access to your data. So basically fees are a bank's way of how to rob you legally. So for example, you can try to use online banks since these ones have usually less fees or close to no fees when compared to traditional banks. And avoid. Then the third trap of compounding, which are taxes. And here I am not promoting tax evasion. However, do not pay taxes you do not need to pay. So how do you do this? So first of all, inform yourself a bit how the tax system works. And if you can pay less income tax because you made use of certain schemes, such as a pension scheme that we've mentioned earlier. And remember, while salary income can be taxed up to 50%, investment income is often taxed at a lower rate, like 20 to 25%, which is another reason why investing makes sense. We are highly skilled, highly educated individuals, yet financial literacy is rarely taught. Schools drilled us on trigonometry, however, they never taught us how to do taxes. If you found today useful, let me know in the comments down below. Remember, money isn't brain science, it's just wrapped in intimidating language. But once you crack the code, you realize that you don't need to settle for financial instability. So here's the thing, money struggles are just one symptom of a bigger issue in academia. And if you want to understand the real crisis behind the scenes, you can watch this video next. And with this, thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Ciao!